Welcome to the Free to Ride podcast with Brian Brumwell, Lance Crawford, and Connor Stobart, where average riders have extraordinary conversations. Gear up, subscribe, and join us where you will get exclusive insights, unmatched tech tips, epic race coverage, and plenty of laughs. Because in the world of motorsports, the only limit is your imagination. Don't let adventure start without you. Stay updated on your favorite platform and follow us on all socials. Your journey is just beginning, and we guarantee you'll keep coming back for more stories, wild discussions, and adrenaline-fueled excitement. Average riders, extraordinary conversations. Welcome to the Free to Ride podcast.
All right, welcome to the Free to Ride podcast.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
We are here at All Sports, Polaris, Can-Am, Ski-Doo, Yamaha.
Look at how washed out you still are.
Everybody. We got Trevor down here. Trevor, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Trevor Twitchell. They call me Twitch down here. We got a Trevor Park, so it keeps the confusion low. Been here since June 1st, and I've been in the industry about 30 years.
Thanks for having us out here today to do this. Pretty cool. Took us a little minute to get set up, trying to figure out our lighting situation, but it's cool to be down here.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into our first segment.
Cool. Let's go into Marketplace Gems. All right, so Twitch, every once in a while, when we have our guests on our show, we like to invite them to participate in our little segments here. So on this, we're going to do Marketplace Gems. I found 3 gems on our local marketplace on Facebook, and I'm gonna show them to you. We do a little description, and you guys get to guess the price. All right, let me pull up the first one here. You can all see that. Our first Marketplace gem. Let me pull up my notes. So this is a 1983 Suzuki LT230. He says it runs and rides. It's got some broken plastics, no brakes. Carb could use some work, but it has reverse. No title.
No title. Okay. What is on the front? Is that supposed to be a headlight sticking out?
Oh, yeah. That's no glass and no bulb. That thing's rough. It's something you pulled out of a scrapyard.
Now, is that duct tape on the back fender?
Or
is that JB Weld?
That's true.
I can't tell what it is.
That might be some sort of Bondo.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Could have plastic welded that.
There's a cable hanging off of there.
It's choke cable.
I'm saying $500.
500.
I think somebody's proud of that thing, and I'm going to say 1,200.
1,200.
He knows what he has.
Connor?
I'm going to go 700.
All right. Well, Brian is our closest. This gentleman does know, apparently, that it's no title. He wants $280.
Damn.
Cool.
Dang, I'm on fire with this one.
Rides, runs.
We're doing all quads
Has
today.
reverse for $280.
All right. Let's move on to our next gem here. Hopefully you guys can see it.
Some assembly required.
It's the first time doing a podcast out on the road like this. So with our mic equipment here.
I don't
Cameras.
think it's on the cable.
No, it'll come up when we record it for
Okay.
the audience.
Okay.
I can put it on there, but this is just for you guys. So, our next Marketplace.
Scrambler.
When they look at my notes, it is a Polaris Scrambler. It's a 90. The year 2000 is when it came out, manufactured. No title, does not run, needs a top end, and has some cosmetic damage.
Yeah,
Has
the
an
top half is
aftermarket pipe that's not installed.
some cosmetic damage. The top is away from them.
Completely disassembled.
Was that disassembly spontaneous?
Did they forget how to put it back together? That's the real question. They're selling it because they don't know where anything goes. They want me to know where it goes, and I buy it.
I bet they
I'm
took
gonna
it
buy
apart and they can't figure it out.
I guarantee you they don't have any of the bolts or anything to attach the two stones together. Get the hole punch.
Twitch, you want to guess first on?
$400.
Okay. Connor, Brian?
I'm going with 800.
800. 400, 800.
I'm going to go right in the middle at 600.
600. All right, this salesman wants $350, so I think Twitch gets the win there.
Damn.
That one's coming right under the $400 mark. All right.
Some assembly required.
So who won the first one? Was it anybody?
Brian did.
I did.
Oh, you're close. 0. Hunter tailing with 0.
It's right where he belongs in the back.
All right, our third and final marketplace gem. Take a look at that bad boy there.
I like those.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. What?
Can anybody guess the year?
That looks like a 99, 98.
95.
95-ish.
Brian brings it home with 99.
Okay.
It's a Polaris Sport 400L.
I like the zip ties up there. Looks
Yeah,
good.
in the days of plastic welders, though, there's no need for that anymore. You can plastic weld that up.
Yeah, that's $1,800.
All right. It's a 99 Polaris Sport 400 2-stroke sport quad. New top end, a little crusty around the edges, but runs and rides good. Has new air filter, battery, steering bushings. Says, I got it in a box with a balloon motor. Has plate and title in my name. Both electric and pulse start work. Box of spare parts included.
I'm sorry. Did that description say it's crusty around the edges?
Yep. A little crusty around the edges.
1,800.
1,500.
And everybody is bust because this gentleman wants $1,000 for this bad boy.
Damn.
Holy
Okay.
crap!
All
Add
right.
more than that into the parts.
Yeah, that
So you
might
say-
be worth
you think-
buying
you
and then
think that's a
turning
good
it
deal?
around.
Yeah.
Flip
Cool.
that son of a gun.
Well, we're ending today with a tie. Congratulations, Brian and Twitch, for tying today.
2 salesmen.
All right. This concludes Marketplace Gems. Yeah, we enjoy looking for those Marketplace Gems to see what people are just
Oh, yeah.
asking crazy prices or just selling total death traps. But the seats are always torn. It's like
Oh, for sure.
they have to be
The,
torn.
the funniest thing is like we live up North Idaho, and I was looking and I couldn't find anything that was
Trashy enough.
trashy enough. And so I just went back to hometown Enumclaw area and looked them up. I was like, I know it's not gonna.
Back to Western Washington to find the trash. Oh, man. Yeah, cool. Well, we're going to head on into our next segment here, Cold Starts. All right, Twitch, so in this next segment, we have Connor has pulled us some videos off the internet that he thought were funny, wipeouts or just cool videos, and yeah, we're just gonna kind of make some commentary on them and see what he has to share with the team here. Oh, without further ado, let's see if I can
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
live.
Maybe one day one of my videos will make it onto Cold Cuts. Or Cold Starts.
It's fine.
Cold Cuts.
Cold cuts.
I know.
It's kind of hard to see. Can everybody hear it? Kind of loud. Hard to see. Oh, it's like your signal's a minute long. It's just one of my notes.
What?
It's kind of reminds me of Mountain Motos and American Duro Jam. Yeah, this is a good time.
That's a short hill climb.
Yeah, that's my kind of ride. Send it. He didn't give it enough gas.
They restarted.
Just back to the beginning. Alright. Are we not recording there and all that? Oh, shit.
I thought you started the recording.
Yeah, I think you did.
Well, it's recording now. I have Rapper Crap as well.
Oh, that's right. Let's do crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cool one's on there. So the other ones were just filler.
I started with the cool one. Thanks for telling me. So in this next segment, we call it Brap or Crap. So I'm going to state some statements about the power sport community or world, and you guys have to decide whether it's Brap or Crap. And let's get started. First one here. You good, Brian? You with us? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm trying not to cheat.
Oh, am I too close? Okay. For our first statement for our Brap or Crap competition, what do we got going on here? I don't like this. Technical difficulties.
The mile-long.
All right. You listening?
No.
Statement 1. The Honda CR500 two-stroke dirt bike is still being produced brand new today.
Yes and no. Is Service Honda still putting the 500 motors in the chassis?
What's that?
So there was a company called Service Honda that was building CR500s in the newer generation aluminum chassis. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. Honda's not making them.
Okay. So, we'll stick with this Honda making them still.
Okay.
Crap.
I got the answer. Yes.
Crap. It is definitely crap. It was discontinued in 2001. Cool. Statement number 2. Are you ready? Quit cheating.
Yep.
I only got so much mic cord here. Some modern side-by-sides have more horsepower than a Corvette.
Rap. It's good. I'm thinking of like the early 50s. Probably has more horsepower.
Yeah, they're making them up to 240 horsepower. So, yeah, I'd say.
I mean, the expert said Brap. I don't want to lose. So sure, Brap.
We're making Connor answer first on the third one. Brap is the correct answer. Certain models like the Polaris RZR Pro R make over 225 horsepower. Well, everybody's got points across the board. Connor's going to go first on this one. Number 3. Jet skis were originally invented for rescue operations, not recreation. Connor,
I'd say Brap on that. I could see it.
what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say Rap.
I'm going to say crap.
Brian is correct with crap. They were designed for fun first. All right, so now we got some interesting points going on here. What do we got?
That throws up the goggles of truth. I've got some about that.
I think you took the lead with 2 points now.
Yeah, sweet.
Or 3 points. I don't know. You got something for the goggles of truth
Yeah.
related to that?
Yep.
All right, statement number 4. ATVs were first built with 6 wheels, not 4. You were quick to that one.
I know. I got to throw Connor off.
I'm going to say crap.
Twitch, what do you think?
They've been making them with 6 wheels, but I don't know if they were first, so I'll say crap.
So that is true. Brian pulling away?
Did we look up the same stuff?
I don't know. I just went for 5 powerful related stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
The last one, number 5. Dirt bikes have been raced at the X Games since the very first event.
I don't know when the X Games started.
I'm not going to answer till you answer, Connor. I was just about went off.
I'm going to say crap. I don't think they... Oh, maybe.
Think Twitch.
Words may have started it, but I'll say Rap.
What was the question again?
As dirt bikes have been raced at the X Games since the very first event. Correct answer is crap. Dirt bike events like Moto X were added later, not at the 1995 debut.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
it's
so
97.
they were definitely... The X Games came around while they had dirt bikes, so...
Yeah,
that was kind of the...
I think it's... I want to say it's 97 and 98 when they incorporated freestyle motocross into it.
Dirt bikes officially debuted at the X Games in 1999 with the introduction of Moto X events.
Okay.
Cool. That was fun. Thanks for playing,
So it's
guys.
fairly-
Brian with the win. You gonna rub it in Connor's face, or you just gonna take a, be like a true champ?
I'll just be quiet.
Yeah, on this one, it was Goggles of Truth.
Oh, now
Yeah.
it's just Goggles of Truth.
I never said it was the other one.
We're gonna have to go back and look at your record here.
It's just because I typically guess what Brian
Just-
himself.
You're just guessing off of his guess. I think that's cheating. I'm gonna make you start writing it on a piece of paper and hold it up like Goggles of Truth.
All right.
Speaking of Goggles of Truth, shall we move into it? I like those XD. Yeah, those rings are cool. I like mirror lenses. It's
Yeah.
my big thing. But I have enjoyed the heated goggles. I'm still not close enough to that. I gotta sit on Connor's lap.
Whoa. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Let's do this. All right, do you want to explain the rules?
So this is just trivia.
Just trivia. No, this is Goggles of Truth.
Goggles of truth.
Thank you.
So we got to determine which question or what answer is the correct answer. So it would be like A, B, C, D. All right. Question 1.
Are we going right into it now?
What's that?
We're just going into it right now?
Yeah, let's go into it
Okay,
right now.
let's go into it.
Wow,
All right, I
let's
guess
go.
we're just doing it. All right.
We're just jumping in, dude. Balls deep, baby.
There's no reason not to. I'm just giving you a hard time.
That's all good. I bet you can't tell me what year the first jet ski was made.
Boy.
Is it A, 1930, B, 1940, C, 1950, 50s. These are all S's during those years.
Oh, it's just within that decade?
Yeah. Or D, 1960s.
When was the first jet ski made?
Yep.
Switch, you want to go first?
When you say jet ski, are you talking Kawasaki or watercraft in general?
Is it brand
Watercraft in general.
specific?
Watercraft in general.
I said 50s.
Connor?
I feel like the fees and feeds are too early. I'll say 60s.
Okay, so we got 50s, 60s. I'm going to say 30s. I'm going to go off the deep end.
Correct answer, Connor.
Hey!
60s. So the first jet ski, a stand-up model, was developed and released by Kawasaki in 1973. However, Clayton Jacobson II started developing a jet ski concept in the mid-1960s with a prototype in 1965 and a patent application in 1968. Let's see. The sit-down version was developed by Bombardier 1968.
I was going to say face.
Connor pulls ahead with the first point. All right. Challenge
Yep.
accepted. Time to crush you.
Yeah, too bad Brian isn't playing. He's used to chasing my tail on this.
Dang. Shooting at a man while he's the ref. I don't know if that's
All
your
right.
best call.
Once again, this is for the decades.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
When was the first ATV six-wheeled version
Oh, man.
called the Jigger or the Jiger? I don't know. Was developed in what year?
I think it'd be a Jagger because there's only one G.
Yeah.
When was
Was
the Jagger
A?
first invented? Is that what you're saying?
A, 1950. B, 1960s. C, 1970s. D, 1980s.
I'm going to say A.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to go with A as well. 50s, right?
Yep, that's
Okay.
50s.
I'm making an answer first every time.
And they were using it for agriculture in the 60s.
Okay, gonna go with 60s? 60. Dang.
Now you're tied up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got to make sure he doesn't win.
It's nice having some actual competition.
So what's interesting about it, though, is it looks like the Arco.
Well, my dad was with the forestry for 30.
You know, I'm just kind of surprised the military didn't have something like that for the Korean War.
Probably did.
They had the Jeeps.
True.
So like an ATV.
True.
We just had one in the shop. It was a Polaris MV7, and they're kind of cool. But I was kind of disappointed because I looked on the internet to try and see what cool configuration somebody's put them in, and I couldn't find nothing. So you got all this rack space, and I couldn't find nobody that had like gun racks or something to carry a sling, for injured person. Like I don't know. There's just so many possibilities, and there was nothing. Just everybody kept them with the decks just open. It's cool though. Drives like a tank.
When I was a kid, Costco had like an amphibious ATV thing that they had for a while.
There's a couple makers out there.
Yep. All right.
Cool. Number 3. Huh? We're on 4.
No, we're number 3.
3. Okay.
When was the first side-by-side developed?
Oh, this is a tough one. Save the hard ones for last, huh? You gonna give us the years or what?
Oh, yeah, sorry. All right. A, 1940. B, 1950. C, 1960. D, 1970.
1970.
Yeah?
Wow, I didn't know they were that old.
Yeah, I'd have to say 70s. Before then, they had all kinds of other stuff. But
Yeah, 1960.
Nobody got it.
Really?
No way.
Yep. The first side-by-sides, actually technically the 1940s to the 1950s, before they perfected it, is known as a Willys Quad. These Jeeps were created due to the ban of the U.S. Army for a quarter-ton light reconnaissance vehicle.
that's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
The first side-by-side off-road vehicle was built in 1970 and is by Lockley Wrangler. They consider it to be the pioneer of the side-by-side.
We had a joiner at work. You ever seen one of those? Yeah.
I've seen them break.
It's pretty gutless. It doesn't have a whole lot of power. Cool. So we tied up. We got a tiebreaker.
Yep.
You
I
do?
do.
Cool. Going into overtime.
What year was the first dirt bike invented?
Wow.
1900, B, 1920s, C, 1930s, or D, 1940s?
I'm going to let these guys answer first.
Come on, Connor.
What were the options again?
A, 1900s, B, 1920s, C, 1930s, and D, 1940s. So they didn't do it by decades, but close enough.
I'm going to say 1930s.
Okay.
30s. Twitch.
I'm thinking like the German Rabbit and shit.
Yeah, BMW started making bikes in 1923, so I'll say the 20s.
Okay.
I'm going to say 1900.
1914, so 1900.
Oh, shit.
Did we just triple tie this thing?
The dirt bike's
I thought you
invention.
said 40s. Son of a...
The dirt bike's invention is attributed to Siegfried Bateman, who in 1914 modified motorcycles for off-road use. The dirt bike gained traction in the 1950s, largely due to Sashario Honda's pioneering role.
I was kind of thinking of like the German Rabbit that the Wehrmacht used in World War II and stuff, so I figured
How about
late
those
30s.
collapsible ones that the airborne could use?
You know, fun fact: after Germany lost World War I, they weren't allowed to make airplanes anymore, so they took the airplane motors and stuff on those sides.
Really?
I could see it.
Cool. Well, that was a fun Goggles of Truth. I think it's a 3-way tie, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I got one more.
Do you guys want to do it?
All right, let's do it. Yeah. Let's see if we can
Came in with 2 bonus questions.
Well, because we had
Everybody's got 1 point, I think.
Yep. Okay.
Gotta walk away with the winner.
Now, Twitch, if you get this one wrong, shame on you.
Those are high stakes.
What year was All Sport in Liberty Lake created?
Oh man.
Pretty sure it says on the side of the truck, 1985.
Okay.
You gotta give us answers? Or is that it?
It's
All right, I'll say 1990.
86.
as he said, the 85 was opened in 1984 as a motorcycle salvage yard and later added a line of Polaris vehicles in 1989. Got it.
Close
That's
enough.
a good one.
Congratulations on winning Goggles of Truth. Twitch.
still sell it. They're picking up in October.
Right.
I don't care.
What players is just sitting up there?
I had no idea.
So it's like a seasonal change. Hey, it's about time to change it out, wouldn't you say? The winter's over. The sleds can come down.
I mean, granted, I think the two right here, Chaoses.
Probably.
They look like it.
I don't know what
One.
the white one is, though. It's like a...
It's a Voyager.
That's the 550 Voyager.
Yeah.
That air-cooled one. Test skis about that wide.
I guess I should have guessed it said Voyager. I just couldn't read the back half of the words, so I wasn't sure what it was.
Did you guys see the Arctic Cat, I guess, put out some, just at least some rough sketches of
Yeah.
possible technology that they're working on? That's kind of cool. Like the next day after announcing that you're buying, to put out some, first prospective, is that the word I'm looking for? Technology that they're working on, just get people excited. That's kind of cool.
Design-wise, they can't be any uglier than the freaking frog that's been staring at me this whole
Hey,
time.
you know what? If it works, then who cares if it's ugly? That was
You
my
don't see
biggest
that
thing.
That's true. But I know it's there.
You're right, though.
A frog. Dude, haven't you seen it?
For our audience who don't know, we're sitting in All Sport in Liberty Lake, and they've got some sleds up on the rack, and we're commenting on them, letting our Twitch know that it's time to put the jet skis up there.
But one of the jet skis does need to go on the back of the truck on the way.
Oh yeah, the 2-seater,
Yeah, that one right there.
so we can ride tandem.
I'm sure if you give him a couple thousand, he'll do it. Like
I think it's
15.
taking a little more.
That seems ridiculous, but Colin and I really want to try fishing on jet skis.
They make a Fish Pro model.
Do they?
Yeah. Live well tank. They make a lot of Fish Pro model of that switch pontoon boat too, with the elevated seats,
Right.
live well tank.
Is that Sea-Doo one of the
Yeah,
fishing
that's what
ones?
you folks need to get.
No.
Look at that thing.
But I've always thought they were a little I like the Sea-Doo look. I just always felt they were, for what like my parents want, it's a little small. They're gonna want a bunch of people.
They don't know a bunch of people. That's plenty.
They're rated for 10 people.
See, that's plenty.
Rated for 10? Okay.
230 horsepower.
10 people and one mannequin.
Does the mannequin come with it?
In Canada, they're rated for 9 people, so I don't know. They must be bigger in Canada. But yeah, you can pull all the seats out, rearrange the interior however you want to.
What is like the mesh on the side made out of? Is it
Plastic.
it's
It's
just plastic?
It's held up with Velcro, so you can pull it off.
Oh, okay. I've seen it a couple times. And it's just like, is that like the cheap part? Is that going to rip easily or?
No, they're pretty durable.
Okay.
But the appeal to that whole boat, though, is boat and trailer, 21 foot, 230 horsepower. So that's your longest, most powerful ones. They're 43,000.
Shoot, that's not bad.
No, the most expensive one they make is 50,000.
I always like the look of BRP's watercraft.
And the motor's proven.
Yeah,
It's
for
the same
sure.
watercraft. I think I sold 7 of those since I started here.
Really?
Wow.
They trailer well
Yeah.
compared to like, I
That
don't know.
whole thing with the trailer's 3,500 pounds.
Okay.
That's
So
not
my
much.
Outback was full.
Might have to bring the folks down here and show them around a little
Right.
bit.
I might have to come back up to buy
Twitch
one.
help us talk them into it.
Right.
Oh, dude. It gets expensive working here. Yeah. I got my 7th bike. It's for my wife. So
But are you brand specific? Do you stick with just anything? You,
I like KTM, but I've got a BMW, 2 Ducatis, 2 Yamahas, a Kawasaki, and Honda. It's all about the style, the appeal, and the engineering.
well, with that, we should move right into Brian's Fireside Stories. You want to introduce our guest here?
Yeah, Trevor, we've already introduced him. Thanks for joining us and getting us into this place here. Like we said before, we're at All Sport here in Liberty Lake, Washington. They got a lot of fun toys.
Yeah, we'll look around and talk to Twitch about what's going on. Tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you first get involved in power sports?
The VA wasn't a lot. Dad worked for the government, so I figured that's my path too, right? About the time I graduated, I realized that there's got to be something better to do than this. I did a couple things. Ended up actually in my partner in a broadcasting company. We owned a 50,000 watt radio station that we built it, put it on the air to sell.
Oh, cool.
And long story short, almost lost our ass, but we sold it within about a year and a half. We sold it, and then I moved back up here. That was in Reno, and I moved back up here because this is where I'm from. Okay, I got to find a job. If I've got to do one thing for the rest of my life, what can I do without taking a Remington retirement plan? I figured I want to play motorcycle. So I hit up every shop in town until I found a place that hired me on. And I was there for 6 months or so, and then I realized it's just too freaking cold up here, and I want to go away. And so I moved back there south. And so the last 15 years before I moved back home here a couple of years ago, I was selling all this stuff down in San Diego. We've got Lamas, Mexico, and Ocotillo, and Pismo wasn't that far. In fact, I sold bikes in San Luis Obispo for a few years before I moved to San Diego. So I had a 12-month riding season for every product that we had because we didn't sell snowmobiles. So,
Yeah.
So
So bikes are more of your main passion then?
Yeah, down there, side by sides are a lot of fun because you can go fast. Up here in the trees, this is a different experience.
Yeah. More of a Baja versus rock crawling up the hills. Yeah.
I don't know which one I like better. Rock crawling or going fast?
They both have their place. It depends how you feel that morning.
Go fast rock crawling.
There we go.
So you break things. The faster you go, the more things you're going to break.
Yeah, I mean, you get the nice Fox shocks on some of these. I'll have to put them to the test sometime.
So the electronic suspension that's on these now, well, like on the Can-Am XRS with the Smart Shock, Fox got together with Innovative Technologies, and they developed this electronic shock that will make up to 200 adjustments per corner per second. And it will go from a full hard to a full soft setting in, I think it was 0.017 seconds.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. And pretty much every brand now has a model with the electronic box suspension. They just call them different things. Honda calls it electronic suspension, I think.
So what do you think about with what's going on just in the dirt bike world? What do you think about KTM's financial woes right now?
All about building the best dirt bike they can and figuring out all the rest of it. Japanese production mindset. It doesn't matter if it's a microwave or a motorcycle. It's all about production cost and gross profit. That's what they focus on. KTM wants to build the best bike that they can. So they're always continually developing. They own WP, and in that WP factory, they make the suspension. A lot of people don't know that in that factory, they also make frames, the swing arms, the exhaust systems, the radiators, they machine the heads. They make most of that motorcycle. They don't outsource much. So
and that's what most people want these days. So if they could stick with that, see through. That's a better bike rather than everything coming from China, getting assembled in a factory somewhere.
And I think, and this is just my opinion, I don't have any inside information, but I think KTM bit off more than they could chew with Gaskins. But Stefan Pierre, the owner of Pierre Mobility Group, who owns KTM's Motorcycle AG, he had the chance to buy Husqvarna from BMW years ago, probably close to 10 years ago. And that's when I was heavily involved in this down in Southern California. Our shop worked really close with KTM North America because they were only about 30 miles north. And that's all we did was KTM. So we were like a little boutique store that they kind of took care of. And talking with Robert Pierce and some of the executives at KTM North America, they had this name Husqvarna, but they didn't have anything else with it because Husqvarna leased their accounting staff, their tools, and everything from BMW, so there was no physical property with the Husqvarna name. But it's a recognizable name. Anybody my age knows that was like the first off-road motorcycle that pioneered motocross in the U.S. So, of course, you want to own a piece of history with new technology.
Yeah.
But they didn't know what to do with it. They made Husaberg, and they used Husaberg as a test platform for KTM for years. They made 3,000 bikes a year, roughly. Any brand new technology that they came out with, they put it on Husaberg, and then they put them out into production. So if that technology failed, they pissed off as many people.
Yeah.
If they put it on KTM and it failed, it's in every magazine. and so they couldn't have that. So they couldn't discontinue Husaberg because they had 2 years of parts in the pipeline to continue that brand. So they wrestled with it for a while, trying to figure out what are we going to do with this. And so the story goes, eventually it's like, well, we're just going to take that and put that on the Husaberg motorcycle and call it. And so they discontinued Husaberg. Husaberg became Husqvarna, and then they filled in all the gaps that they didn't have, like 65 SXs and 85 SXs with white KTMs. They, from my understanding, they didn't give up their PDS chassis to Husqvarna. They kept that proprietary to KTM. And that's like this one back here, where the shock connects to the frame and then to the swing arm. There's no linkage underneath. Mm-hmm. That chassis is super stable at speed. The offset on the triple clamps is out a little bit more, and so it's super stable. You get it on a motocross track, it's going to turn in pretty slow. You know, the linkage bikes turn in faster, but you sacrifice, high speed stability.
Yeah.
But with what's going on with them when they bought Gas, well, with Husqvarna and KTM now, they're fighting themselves for market share.
Yeah.
So you buy a white KTM or an orange KTM, and then they bought Gas. And now it's just like, now they've
that's a red KTM.
3 different ways.
Yeah.
So I think that probably had something to do with it. I don't know.
So should they just wrap those 3 into one? I mean, like you said,
they're all individual companies, but they're all owned by the parent company, Pierre Mobility.
Yeah. And that's what you're saying. They're sharing, they're splitting their profit shares 3 ways, and they're using each different bike to fill in the holes in their lineup. And I know, you're going to step on some toes and lose some people, but wouldn't, for the benefit of the company as a whole and longevity of its life, to make one complete catalog under one roof?
Now, Stefan Pierre had the money to be able to pull them out of bankruptcy, but he didn't want to. He wanted to use some of his money, which is small. Back in, I think it was 5-ish. You remember when Polaris was making Outlaws and Predators with 525 and 450 motors in it? One of the smartest things this guy's ever done. And Polaris came to them and said, hey, we realize we suck at building race quads. We want to buy your motors and put them in our chassis, and then we'll see how this works. We will pay you $80 million to let us do this. And KTM was like, well, sounds good to us, but in 2 years, if we don't like this arrangement, we're going to sever everything. We're going to give you your money back. We're going to walk out. I said, okay. So for those 2 years, they had 525 Outlaws and Predators and 450s.
Yeah, those Predators are sick.
Well, the KTM used that $80 million interest-free loan for 2 years to develop the RC8, the Crossbow, all of those other things. And then they're like, okay, here's your money back.
That's smart, right? Somebody else's money to develop and grow. And if you could be in a better financial situation in 2 years, stop using our motors.
So he had the money to pull it out. He knew that he had to step down as, CEO, because nobody's going to reinvest into a company when he was at the helm when all this happened. And this is all my speculation. But they settled their bankruptcy. I want to say it was like a $1.5 billion amount that they settled for $400 million. So then we got notice that they're back to full production. Then
are you guys doing a? I had seen some on the internet. They were on sale. Like liquidating a lot of.
They never went on sale. No? People would come in and say, "Well, what are those going to be half price when they're 5 years old?"
So it never affected you guys in the showroom. Still full price. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen something about them possibly dropping their price, but you're the man on the floor. Selling these things. So
they. As with any brand, if there's more than X percentage still on dealers' floors, then they'll throw a dealer incentive at it to help us move them, $1,000, $750. We'll get back to the manufacturer so we can discount them a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was the extent of it.
Okay.
I did see a report recently, yesterday or the day before, that now KTM is having some supplier issues getting parts. So they're slowing down or halting production. They didn't get all the details on that. But you file bankruptcy with all of your suppliers.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, do you think they've been around long enough that they'll and have had previous financial turmoil? You think they'll get through this one then?
Yeah. Stefan bought that company out of bankruptcy in 1990 and turned it into what it is today. And so I've got every faith that he's going to make it all work, or whoever's in charge now is going to make it.
Now, do you think the economy plays a role in just them moving them right now? It seems, at least across the board, for other markets, power sport, snowmobiles and whatnot. Definitely seems like the economy's affecting it, and
Yeah, the last 4 years was terrible. Me too. I could get you financed on anything in here for 1.99% through our credit unions. Right now, the same credit unions are 7.99. So there's not one thing in this store that anybody needs. The payment has to make sense to you.
Yeah.
And financing $20,000 to $50,000 at 8% is that's a big chunk. So
Yeah.
the economy did slow us down a little bit.
a lot
But
different.
people still have to play.
I know the one big thing that did affect power sports industry across the board would have been COVID. So I know that KTM, along with the other people, they sped up their production to meet the demand, and then also the demand just left, was gone. So they're left with a bunch of high price items.
Yeah, their warehouses were full.
Yeah,
Well, KTM was different. I wasn't selling KTM during COVID. I was at Escondido Cycle Center during that. We were Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Can-Am. We sold out of everything. I mean, it was ridiculous. People had a bunch of extra money and a bunch of time off, and social distancing with a helmet on a motorcycle was what
Yeah.
you could do. And from
I definitely saw that, like
It was 2
snowmobiling
years.
too.
we,
A lot more people. Yeah.
our industry never saw anything like that, where you ran out of stuff, couldn't get it. That was never happened.
I think that contributes to a lot of the price inflation that has come from it all. When you look at how much the bikes were about, I'd say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, they were maybe 3/4 of the price they are now. Same with the snowmobiles and jet skis and everything like that. It's almost like they raised the prices because the demand was so high and they had to slow that demand down, and they just kept the prices there.
Well, from 5 years ago, technology is a whole lot better now too.
Oh, that's true, too.
Technology costs money. Like that two-stroke right there is oil injected and fuel injected. I mean, when I was
That's
first
awesome.
started riding back in '74, it was Prius. It was mechanical. There's more computers in that thing. The Yamaha motocross bikes, they've got their own Wi-Fi system built into them. So at the side of the track, you can pair your phone through the Power Tuner app, and you can change all your power curves. By
That's pretty
So would you say, as far as maintenance, I mean, from my perspective, older equipment, the rider could get more involved in the maintenance. Are they getting away from that, or is it still rider friendly? No.
Still rider friendly. Owning a dirt bike, you got to be your own mechanic. Bikes nowadays versus bikes 30 years ago, you still have to adjust the chain. You still have to change the oil. You still have to check your spokes. You still have to check your fasteners. Major failures, you need the computers to plug them into. Now, maintenance is about the same. Technology and the materials is a lot better.
Mhm.
Back in the 70s and even early 80s, right, when liquid cooling first came out, and the Hondas and Yamahas and stuff. In the air-cooled bikes, you were having to change your top end in between motos. I mean, you don't have to do that. So,
No. I'm curious to see what the Ducati did, how much technology they incorporated into their motocross bike that they just came out with. I can't wait to get my hands on one and see it up close
Yeah,
and personal.
I haven't even seen a picture.
I've seen this picture. I'd like to get involved in that motor.
Yep.
There was it 2010, the KTM factory editions came out. So that was 16 technology, because the race team couldn't race that bike unless it was homologated as a factory stock
Right.
production motorcycle, right? So they built just enough of them to be homologated so that the race team could race the next year's technology. So it was the 16 technology and the 15 model. And they shaved 16 pounds out of that motorcycle, 4 pounds out of the motor alone.
That's huge.
And all of the manufacturers were just floored. How did they do that? We need to find out. This is ridiculous. How did they do that? So I was working at a KTM dealership in San Diego area. And one day I had a guy show up at the dealership by the name of, I don't know if I should say his name or not, but he was from Kawasaki North America in Irma.
Okay.
And he bought a 450 factory edition and a 250 factory edition from me in the crate, put him in the box van. He took off. I never saw him. Never talked to him. Didn't have any. Fast forward years later, I was working at Escondido Cycle Center, and they were a Kawasaki dealership, and I had to do all my Kawasaki dealer university training online, learning about all the different models, taking the tests, and getting my certifications. I got on the KX450. There was so much KTM technology in that Kawasaki, it was ridiculous. They had the single clutch spring, they had the hydraulic clutch, they had adjustable handlebars, they had the shift sensor that changes your maps and your ECM every time you shift gears. They had the plane bearing on the big end of the rod. There was more KTM technology in that thing than the Japanese technology.
I think when he was picking up those,
that's what they did with that.
yeah, picking up those bikes so they could dissect them. So you think?
They reverse engineered that entire thing and took whatever technology they could and put it into theirs. That's America,
So
right?
that's the name of the game, right?
Yep.
You got the copycats and you got the leaders that are innovating.
Ski-Doo, Arctic Cat, and Polaris all do the same thing on snowmobiles. And I mean,
they
side by side,
then
you
they
look at
sue
some
each
of
other.
them, girls, they all got the same ideas.
I'm not great with sleds, but didn't Polaris buy the reverse technology from Ski-Doo?
I cannot remember how that went. I
They're
know
electric.
there was, I know, but I know there's a big lawsuit involved with
There's kid
something
sleds.
like that, somewhere in there.
The big one is their kid sled. I think it's like BRP's making the kid sleds for Yamaha or something like that. They got sued or I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? One out of the companies that did copy off of anyone, no one wants to copy our single rail.
That monorail.
That mono, that's pretty.
On paper, it makes sense. A lot of things make sense on paper. It's when you get it out there in the practical. If I'm on a side hill 100% of the time, the monorail's great. How often
Until
are
you
you
stop.
out?
Until you
Until
stop.
you stop or until you're on a
And then
trail.
it's-
Yeah, or you're on a trail,
Yeah, it's.
Or they snap. We were out with a buddy and didn't even get up the trail and just had pulled off. And it had the brace on and everything, but it blew the pop rivets out. They had pop rivets holding their whole skid together. And he went and replaced it with stainless steel hardware and sold it. And then it broke on the next guy, even with stainless hardware.
I'm pretty sure it broke on the next guy.
The first ride.
trip that he took it out.
Yeah,
I still
anymore.
want
That's
one.
why I'm surprised that Timber Sled decided to quit their production, because I think that's going to be the way to go. Before long, people are going to start seeing that, hey, you got both sports are expensive. You could combine.
In the end, you're
them,
still
and then-
paying the same because you have to have a dirt bike, and then you're looking at
Yeah.
$8 to $10,000 for a kit to convert it. You can get a decent used snowmobile for $8 to $10,000. You don't have to have the top of the line. So
We didn't do well with the timber sleds. We still got one or two 2023s left. And
you've also have to have
Yeah.
the mechanical ability to be able to change it out, or
That is
taking
true.
it
That
to
is
a
true.
shop and having them swap it out. So,
Maybe I just love the Timber Sled.
I'm
kits.
afraid to get on one and like it more than snowmobiling. Snowmobiling is really what got me into power sports, and I hear them; they sound good. Like seeing a timber sled out on the hill, I know they have different capabilities as far as the terrain they can traverse. I'm just afraid I'll like it too much. I never go back to a snowmobile, so I'm kind of patiently waiting to not try one.
And the opportunity's been there. We've been offered multiple times, and even I will want to try it, but it's just
I'll
So-
get there.
So, Twitch, what do you think about two strokes making a way back into the race scene? You think that's a real possibility?
I'm a two-stroke guy. But as long as there's four strokes out there, the two strokes aren't going to be competitive. And we saw that with four stroke. And so all you got to do is stuff that guy in a corner every lap, and next thing you know, he's 30 seconds back.
Really?
It's just, I'd like to see two-stroke racing with two strokes.
So you think they should just have their own races?
Yeah, I think they should just two strokes should be able to be raced on the motocross track, but with themselves, because it's just not fair.
Unless the only thing I could see what would work would be if they allowed a higher stroke, two stroke to be in there.
Well, you
Something
still
bigger.
get recovery when you stall.
Yeah,
You don't have the
that's
torque coming out of
takes
the
a while. But when you actually look at how they are all racing back when they first introduced them, I mean, it's still fairly highly competitive until the technology of the four stroke started overcoming
Exactly.
that. Then they can't be touched. But now you see the new two stroke technology coming out, and I'm kind of going, I wonder if they're going to allow a bigger motor for the two strokes to race against it to make it a little bit more fair.
Maybe.
Did you see that they banned electric dirt bikes from freestyle, trying to keep those
No.
separate? So,
Oh, I haven't even seen that.
which I think is all right. I guess if you want to race your electric dirt bike or do freestyle with it, more power to you. But that instant torque is going to set them apart from the gassers all day. So I think when it comes down to it, they're just, yes, they're two-wheeled, bikes, but they're different machines between your two-stroke, your four-stroke, your electric. Yeah, it'd be like racing the naturally aspirated cars versus funny cars. Yeah. They're just different. Yeah, they have four wheels, but they're different animals.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Love the sound of a two-stroke in the morning.
The smell.
Especially a good race bike.
Yeah. Well, it's like that 300 XCW. They run cooler than a four-stroke. You don't have valves to adjust. You don't have oil filters to change. They're electric start. They're fuel injected. They're lightweight, and they've got a ton of power. What's not to love?
Yeah. Throw that on with the 250.
So if you were to have just a casual rider that doesn't want to race, just wants to go ride out in the woods, what are you recommending? I already put you on the spot here.
So depending on skill level, a bike that anybody can ride that's being currently produced of the brands that we carry here. I don't know much about Suzuki right now. That Honda CRF 250F, air-cooled, fuel-injected model, motor will last forever, and anybody can ride it and have fun. It's not going to be the fastest thing. It's going to be a little on the heavy side as a trip. The most fun you'll ever have on a motorcycle, on an entry-level bike, is a TW200. Little fat tires on them, little sports. Those things are absolutely bananas.
So then you're recommending two strokes then for, is that what you're getting? You
No, two strokes not for a beginner. When we started riding them back in the day, they were air cooled. They didn't have a lot of power. They were easy to control. You get into the smaller displacements, like 125, 152 strokes. You got to keep those things just taped open to keep any power, and you got to have some skill in riding gas.
Okay.
You just need an air cooled four-stroke motor.
Well, you want to wrap it up from here?
That's all I got.
Twitch, we appreciate you having us on, telling us a little bit about what you do here at All Sport and your journey, your passion for dirt bikes. Yeah. So our mission is to get out and to talk to people like you that are, just have a love for power sports and want to share it with everybody else out there. You guys got anything else?
No, I got nothing.
Awesome. Let's wrap it up. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Free to Ride podcast. We're down here in All Sport in Liberty Lake. Have a good day.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Free to Ride podcast. Want more? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for extra content and behind-the-scenes action. Catch full episodes and video clips on YouTube and Rumble. And of course, listen to us anytime on Spotify. Got a story, an ugly sled submission, or just want to say hi? Shoot us an email at freetoridepodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. Ride safe, stay free to ride, and we'll see you next time.